Merry Bladesmith, Sword Family. Welcome to the early Christmas edition of the Teahouse. Tonight's tea is blueberry. So let's see how it is. That's good. I like that. Okay, so let me set a little scene for you today. It's Christmas Eve, or any time at all during the holiday season. You're home alone, and someone tries to break into your home. Now, if you're like me, that person's probably going to have a bad time because I have weapons in literally every single room of my home. There's right back there. There's a weapon rack. My spare bedroom has a weapon rack. There are 3 hanjin in my hallway. There's a small, short weapon rack in my bedroom. Even have one of those little hidden knife comb things in my bathroom. So, yeah, they're probably going to have a bad time breaking into my house. But not everyone is as insane as I am. So, you only have what's available to you around Christmas time to defend yourself. So, what are you going to do? So I asked some friends on Facebook and various other locations for their favorite Christmas ornaments and or snacks. Came up with a little list. Bring that up here. So we have candy canes. We have, and my German is incredibly rusty, but I'm going to give this a shot. Glühwein, milk and cookies, ornaments, garland, strands of Christmas lights. The wrapping paper tube, I'm pretty sure someone was joking about, but we're going to see. Fruitcake and a wreath. So we have a pretty good list here. Let's hop on over to our comments here. I'm using a new system here, as I'm sure people can probably tell, but our very first comment from the Independent Creator Directory, which I am now a member of over at indiecd.org. Evening, Bladis. How you doing? Obviously, my wife Foxy is here. Evening with Foxy. Foxy's always in the background, which is true. She's literally in the background. She's in the back bedroom. Nice to see you. Yes. Nice of you to stop by. So, the very first thing on our list is a candy cane. Now, most people wouldn't really think to use a candy cane as a weapon. Most people don't have someone in their lives like my admittedly psychotic Foxy. So every time she gets hold of a candy cane, she will turn it into this. Yeah. So I have here one of my handmade throwing targets. You can see the, so, and this is a candy cane. This is not, I mean, it's a candy cane. So Yeah. Yeah. Candy cane can easily be turned into a delicious shift. Yeah. She did. And it's this is very true. She poked her finger with it. Give it. And she actually drew blood. It's like my lancets for my diabetes, only the hole was smaller. So yeah, candy, if you have, the amount of time and preparation to do it, you can turn a candy cane into a pretty effective weapon. Now, I probably wouldn't be going for really fleshy areas. Go for the soft spots, eyes, temple, under the chin right there. Yeah. All right, so next we have the Glühwein, which is a German mulled wine. Okay. The wine itself, you can throw it into your assailant's face. You can pour it on the ground to make a nice little slippery spot that you can, fall on. The bottle itself can be used as a really, really effective club. There is an Indian, it's Indian, an Indian club. It's called a Gada, I think. They're very kind of wine bottle shaped. They're wider at the bottom and they kind of taper into a kind of a thin handle. Yeah, exactly. Something tells me the glass the wine is in might end up being the better weapon. Exactly. You club them with it, and if it's broken, you can take the glass shards and make really, really effective caltrops. Just sprinkle them on the ground. You can use it for letting yourself know where the people are. Spread it on the ground and you can hear them coming a mile away just from the sound. So that's, and the same thing for the milk and cookies. Pretty much the same thing. Now, again, most people wouldn't really think of milk and cookies as a weapon, but again, as you can probably tell, I have hardwood floors. If you pour any kind of liquid on these floors, it's almost a health hazard. And then the glass, again, can be used for caltrops. If you break up the cookies, or as Foxy here says, thrown like a discus to distract. Yeah, that would probably work fairly effectively. I remember reading a study once. I really wish I could find it again, but I can't. But someone actually did like a scientific study that showed that if someone broke into your home and you had a gun, they would expect it. But anything other than a gun, and it's going to trick their brain and possibly give you even a minute, a few seconds of extra time to do something with. Peanut butter cookies in case your attacker has a peanut allergy. Or you could just throw peanuts at them. That'll work too. Yeah, we make peanut butter cookies for our dog because she can't have chocolate chips, and chocolate chip cookies are just the best cookie. And I don't care what anybody says. Okay. Christmas tree ornaments. There's quite a lot of things you can do with ornaments. Just like with the cookies, you can throw them. If they're glass, again, you can break them and put them on the ground as caltrops or as an advanced knowledge of where your assailants are. Peanuts could be used as a tripping hazard. Yeah, they could. That's true. And also true that there are many different styles of ornaments. The specific kind of ornament that I was suggested was from our friend of the channel, Cindy Kep, who suggested bird ornaments. With a bird ornament, you wouldn't even have to break it. Just put it on the ground as it is. Like a tiny little Lego would destroy your foot. Round ornaments could be tripping hazards, or just leave them underneath windows for something to step on, and then you'd have shards of Christmas tree ornaments all over the place. But ornaments can also go with the next item on our list, which is the garland. I have a garland right here. It's hanging above my living room window. Really tiny round ornaments, if they didn't break, would be like banana peels. That's very true. Just slip and fall and break your face. This is literally turning into the adult version of Home Alone, and I love it. So, garland by itself, you could use, if you caught one of them on the random liquid that you dropped on the ground, you could use it to tie the person up, but probably wouldn't work great. You could use it to strangle them. But my personal favorite is to take your garland, take one of the ornaments off your tree, tie the ornament to the end of the garland, and you have a rope dart. You might only get one shot because, the ornament could very easily break. Oh, excuse me. Or it could come untied after the first shot. But if you do it right, you're only going to need one shot. So again, like with the candy cane, if you're going to try that, you go for the soft areas. Behind your ear, hit them in the neck, temple. You could also use it, as Foxy says, as just a lasso or kind of a whip. Also make a great trip line. That's very true. Tie it in your hallway between entrances. Get people to just trip over it, and then they're pretty much at your mercy. And the Christmas lights are basically the same as your garland. Tripwire, lasso, garrote. The difference with Christmas tree lights is they're generally stronger material. So you could, again, make Make yourself a rope dart, or you could use it just as a chain whip. But again, you're going to want to aim for softer areas instead of trying to hit them in the chest or in the back or something. I mean, with distracting lights, if it's still plugged in. Yeah, exactly. Especially if they're blinking. If it has one of those control boxes on it that can increase the speed of the blinking, turn it all the way up so they're blinking really, really fast. Especially if it's dark when it happens. Right now, this whole place is being lit by my Christmas tree. And I have a light in that hallway right there. But that light isn't doing much. But if it was completely dark, the first thing I would probably do is take one of those small strands of lights, not in the main room, probably in one of the back rooms, and plug them in. Because whoever is going to be rifling through my presence is going to want to go and investigate that light. And then they would walk into a room filled with sharp, pointy things, and that would probably end their career as a thief. Now, here's an idea. That's not even on my list. Projectors would be a great meteor hammer with a heavy weight on the end. Yeah. No, out of here. This way. That's the only outside lights we really have, except for a single strand over our front door. I have 2 projector lights out there. You probably can't see the second one, but the first one is that one you see kind of red and blue. I also have one of those red and green star showers out there. You could very easily tie one of those to your garland or to a strand of Christmas lights and make a really, really great meteor hammer. And that would do some pretty serious damage to somebody, I guarantee you that. That's a good idea. That wasn't even on the list. Good job. Now, this one's going to be kind of controversial, I think. But I think the person who suggested it was probably joking. But a wrapping paper tube. Now, they didn't specify whether it actually had wrapping paper on it or not. So we're going to do both. If you have never made the mistake of dropping a full roll of wrapping paper on your foot, I'm going to tell you right now, a full roll of wrapping paper you could very, very easily use as a bludgeon. You could smack somebody in the side of the head. Yeah, whole roll would hurt. Exactly. You hit somebody with a wrapping paper tube, you could very easily knock them out. There would be nothing. And again, just like with the all of the other weapons, you know, someone comes running at you with a roll of wrapping paper instead of a shotgun, they're going to have a momentary, what the hell are you doing? And then, yeah. Wrapping paper tube could be used for psychic damage. Pretty much what I'm saying, yeah. Hiding behind a door and using it to project a deep growl might make the person think twice about opening the door. Yeah. That's definitely, I mean, I have a dog, but she'd probably come running at them if they offered her a cookie. But yeah, and you could do that with full or empty, though I think the empty one might actually project the sound better. I don't know. I might actually have to test that one. Get one that's completely empty or full and try it both ways and see what happens. That could be an interesting experiment. I might have to check that out. Once you have them wrapped up in your garland, you can use the paper itself, death of a thousand cuts style. Whoo, boy. Yeah, there's yeah, boy. I always tell people she's a healer. She's not a fighter, but you don't want to piss off the healer because they know how you're put together and they know how to take you apart. That right there, that's a perfect example of that. That right there. Or if you want to shut them up, a lot of it could be used as a gag. Yeah, it's true. You could take the paper itself and stick it inside the tube to kind of give you a little more weight behind your thrusts or slashes. Yeah, exactly. Get up there. Remind me never to get on your bad side. Yeah. Had dogs like that in the past myself, all bark until the person is inside. Yeah. And they're desperate. Well, actually, we've had people like maintenance people come in, and I've never, I mean, they usually let us know well ahead of time when they're coming, so we can always make sure that we're home. But our apartment complex has flat out said that, if they need to come in to do an inspection and we're not home, they have a key. They're just going to come in. And I do kind of worry what would happen in that situation if she might actually nip at somebody. I don't know, because we've always been home, but she'll bark at them, and then we usually hand whoever the person is a piece of jerky or something that they can give her as a treat, and then they're friends. So that's also something to keep in mind in, a Christmas robbery situation. If you have any pets, if they're going to be the type that are just going to get in the way, you should probably kennel them or put them, away somehow, so you're not going to be worried about them while you're trying to defend yourself. Yes, you. No one believes this. No one believes that you're, no one believes that. And there's only 2 more things on the list, and we still have like 35 minutes of show left. I need to slow down. I'm pretty sure the person who suggested the fruitcake was also joking. But depending on the fruitcake, if it's one of those soft, squishy, nasty ones, you could just, well, in either case, whether it's soft and squishy or whether it's hard and a brick, you could very easily just pick it up and throw it at the person. If for nothing else, it would be incredibly distracting to have a fruitcake fly at your head out of the dark in the middle of the night. And The last thing on the list is the wreath, which we could very easily use in a multitude of different ways. You could, if it's anything like the wreath that I have in my spare bedroom window, it's got some pretty sharp spots to it. It's never done more than scratch me. But I think if I picked that thing up and chucked it at somebody, it could probably do a fair bit of damage to him. Especially if I hit him in the throat. That'd be fun. You could also use it to, once they've been dealt with in whatever fashion, that your preference, you could use it to hold them in place until the police arrive. Wreath plus glass ornaments equals pain. Yeah. Take your wreath, take your ornaments or your shards of ornament, if you have them, stick them in all the little nooks and crannies of the wreath. You got yourself a big ass chakram right there. Could use a tree itself too. Toss it in front of the door to trip them while you go for another item. Throw it at them. Land. These are all very true. That's something else that I didn't really mention is your tree topper, whether you have a star or a Santa Claus or what we actually have, which is a old style pagan Father Christmas. You could also take that off the tree and tie that to your garland or your Christmas lights. And again, you have a meteor hammer or a rope dart. And now I just have this mental image of my wife coming running down that hallway, holding a Christmas tree as a lance, and stabbing someone in the gut. Yeah. Merry Christmas. So, that's the end of our current list. For some reason, I see a star from the top of a Christmas tree being used as an actual throwing star. Okay. I actually have a very small collection of throwing stars. Most of them are what people in the sword community lovingly refer to as mall ninja shit. But they work. Every single one of these marks is from one of those things. They're not terribly sharp. A couple of them are. My bedroom in my childhood home, one of the walls has many, many tiny, tiny little holes in them because my parents made the mistake of buying me throwing stars and nothing to throw them at. So I threw them at the wall. So, yeah. Yeah, evil ideas. You are an evil idea. Depending on, your material and your skill level, if you wanted to pull the star off the top of your tree and throw it at someone as an actual throwing star, go for it. Give it a shot. Just watch the balance. You'd want to make sure that it's balanced properly for throwing. Otherwise, you're just going to, it might work better as kind of a lawn dart instead of an actual throwing star. Try and throw it no spin instead of trying to get it to go end over end. Basically what you were thinking. Except the difference is, unless you're really, really bad at cooking, your cookies are probably not going to have the same kind of impact that a tree topper star is going to have. So to have the most weapons available at one time in one area, Christmas tree wrapped in lights and garlands with glass ornaments and sharp holiday painted throwing stars hanging from the limbs. Or just these. Take your candy canes, get them all this sharp, and hang them from the tree. Yeah. Go out and buy a whole bunch of the little, they're about that big around, little throwing stars, and paint them blues and greens, and then stick a, now here you go. Depending on if you were in the process of cooking, a hot pie would slow someone down. Yeah, Foxy was making a pie before this stream started, and my entire living room smells like cherry pie right now. Anything, any kind of hot, boiling water. Not going to waste a pie on the intruder. Rolling pin. I think we have a rolling pin. We also have a already broken marble cutting board. It broke because, actually, it broke in three places. One of them, it landed on my steel toe boots and just right down the middle. I'm not really completely remembering what happened the other time. So let's see. Our two very devious people in the chat. What else can we think of that you would like for me to discuss possibilities of use as a weapon? I suppose it doesn't have to be only Christmas themed. I mean, I have a lovely lamp that's right over here that I lovingly call the pineapple because it looks like a pineapple. If I could actually turn my camera, I would show you, but it's kind of stuck to my desk right now. It would be a waste of pie, but life is more important than pie. That's very true. Life is always preferable to, treats. But if you have treats like this, I think I broke. Let's see if I can get that to. Come on, focus. It doesn't want to. Come on. I think I broke the tip off when I stuck it in. But it's still plenty sharp. I don't do the normal mint candy canes. I don't like mint. I've never been a mint fan. This is my candy cane for this year. It is the Trolley Sour Candy Cane. When I was younger, every year my parents would go out and buy a box of those blueberry candy canes and stick them on the tree so that after Christmas was over, we would take them off the tree and you'd have a treat. Last year, was it last year? Can't remember if it was last year or the year before, I found Swedish fish candy canes. That was kind of a surprise because it actually tastes like Swedish fish. Hey, if you want to fix this thing that's been hanging on the tree for a week, I don't know if that's the greatest of ideas, but hey, that's what you want to do. While we're waiting to see if our chatters have any new ideas, I'm going to tell a little Christmas story. I am a swordsman. I have many swords. Like I said, there are 4 sword racks in my house. I have bought a lot of swords. Now, some of them I have traded for other swords or replaced over the years. There used to be an old video on this channel. I think I took it down because excuse me. I think I took it down because it was that old. But I had a couple of videos of all of the swords that I owned at that time. At the time, I only had 1 sword rack. So I'm sure you can imagine how much my collection has grown since then. I'll probably try and film another one showing the new collection, but that one back there is all curved weapons. It has my 2 Quandao, my 2 Willow Leaf Dao, and it has the 2 single-edged swords from House of Flying Daggers. In the hallway, you can just barely kind of see right there, I have a small rack with 3 Hanjian on it. All 3 are Hanjian. And then right next to that is my spare bedroom. That has all these straight weapons. So it has my spear, my 4 white waxwood staves, has all of my jian. I have my 2 training swords. One of them, I showed both of them on earlier videos on this channel. And then in the bedroom is all the short weapons, the daggers. I have a couple of Chinese fans back there. So I'm a weapon collector. Basically what I'm trying to say. Can't really think of anything else offhand, but I'm also trying. Multitask, yeah, I kind of know that. I'm going to be hopefully finishing up my Christmas tree wrapping when I'm done with the stream here. So, yeah, I have a lot of swords. I've had a lot of swords delivered to my house. My sister, my brother-in-law, and her 2 daughters came down for Christmas this year for the first time since 2016. 2016 was the last time they were here. Now, I don't get along with these people. I don't particularly like them. They have never really shown an interest in any of the things that I am interested in. I am polite because they're down to visit. So I bought them Christmas presents. They're currently under my tree. I didn't expect them to get me anything. The last time they were here, I am almost 100% certain, because we got them all gifts that year. And when we went over on Christmas morning, they gave me a $50 Walmart gift card. So I'm fairly certain that they showed up, saw gifts under the tree for them, and thought, oh shit, we better go do something. So they ran to Walmart and got a gift card. This year, I was going to keep all of their gifts under my tree until Christmas morning, just to test that theory. But Foxy made my niece a bracelet, and I had to ask what her favorite colors are, because I know very little about this girl other than the fact that she has a boyfriend and she's obsessed with Taylor Swift. 16-year-old girl. Go figure. So they found out that I at least had presents for their kids. Well, they apparently got in yesterday, and Foxy and I were over at my parents' house visiting, and my brother-in-law disappears to go into one of the back bedrooms to wrap a present. He comes out with a box that has 2 different designs of wrapping paper on it. I was actually fairly impressed with it. It looked kind of cool. And he's showing it off to everybody because I begrudgingly have to give him credit. He did a good job. My sister looks at me, points at the box, and goes, "That's for you." Now, as I said, I'm a swordsman. I'm a sword collector. I knew the minute I looked at that box. And without even thinking, there was no delay between my brain and my mouth. I didn't even think about it. I went, "That's a sword box." The look on their faces, they just froze. Just, how? And then, of course, my brother-in-law starts trying to deny. No. And I was already in kind of a bad mood from some of the ignorant comments they had already made since they'd been there that day. And I wasn't really exactly in a very forgiving mood. So I just flat out said, "Please, I know a sword box when I see one." Yeah. And then, of course, my sister kicks him and starts telling him he ruined it. And then she starts blaming him by telling her that it was her fault because she said it was for me. So I'm getting a sword for Christmas. I don't know what kind of sword. The fact that these people, as I said, have shown zero interest in anything I've ever been interested in. They wouldn't know the difference between a katana, a dao, and a jian if all 3 of them fell on their heads in quick succession. I'm probably getting a $50 wall hanger from Amazon. But if these people really, really cared enough, did they honestly think that I was not going to recognize a sword box? There were 2 things they easily could have done, because my mom came to me later and said that she was pissed off at me for ruining the surprise. 2 things they could have done to not make that happen. The first and easiest thing they could have done is when he brought it out in the living room, don't say it's for me. I would have looked at it for a second, admired the really, really nice job he did the wrapping, and then went about my day. Second thing, don't let me see it. Keep it in the back bedroom until we left. and then put it in the back corner of the tree with the name tag facing the wall. I probably still could have figured out that it was a sword box because it's a sword box. Anyone who's got a lot of sword deliveries to their home knows what I'm talking about. A sword box is a sword box. You're going to recognize that thing immediately. All right, we got a few comments here, so we can go over some of those. So currently in our house, between the machete on my wife's side of the bed and the 410 on my side of the bed, I feel bad for anyone that breaks in at night. Pretty much what I was saying at the beginning of the show. We have no guns in the house because I am opposed to guns. But there are plenty of sharp things. There's a sword just an arm's length away from me right now. It sits in the corner right here. Otherwise, if it's during the day, there is generally something sharp. Yeah, exactly. Just what I was saying. There's a sword right there. If I was sitting at this desk, because I'm an oddity because I'm a night owl and I'm a morning person. I know there's a word for that, but I can't think of it right now. My brain is not letting me. I physically cannot go to bed before midnight. Unless I'm feeling incredibly sick, I'm not in bed before like 12:30 in the morning. And then I still get up between 7:30 and 8. So this morning I was up at 6:15. If I was sitting at this desk and someone decided they wanted to break into my house and I hadn't gone to bed yet, I could easily reach right here, grab a sword, turn to my front door, point it at the door, and just wait. Something like that kind of happened once, and it was before I was consistently leaving a sword right here. I was sitting here late at night or early in the morning, depending on how you look at it. And I heard someone jiggling my door handle. I'm kind of the opinion that they got lucky because they tried it, found it was locked, went to my neighbor's house, and then left. But soon as I heard that, I jumped up and ran back there and grabbed a sword. Yeah, see, same in our place. We have lots of sharp and pointy things. Foxy spends a lot of time in the kitchen, and we don't have cheap knives. Couple years ago, she got me a Forged in Fire brand kitchen knife that I use when I'm cooking. That thing is sharp as hell. I wouldn't want to use that to defend myself, but that would be nasty. A few cheaps, and I don't care if they break. Our little paring knives are kind of cheap. The steak knives are kind of cheap, but yeah, Foxy's the opposite. She goes to sleep at like 9 o'clock, waking up usually around the same. It used to be vastly, vastly different before she got on this current medication that she's on that I'm not really going to disclose because it's not really anyone's business. But for years, I would have an hour or two in the evening, in the morning to myself. You know, she would go to bed 2 hours before I was. She would wake up 2 hours after me. So I would have like a 2-hour block in the morning and the evening that I just all to myself. Meds make a huge change. No kidding. It's improved her mood. She gets up in the mornings with me. She needs to start training with me in the morning. We can sit and do basic stance training while we watch our good friend Nick Talkert on Nevermind the Furthermore, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at, 8 o'clock our time? 8 o'clock Mountain Time? Don't stick that tongue out at me. Man, we could listen to Nick's morning show, and that was usually what I was doing with those 2-hour blocks in the morning, is I was training. And when I went down with my hip, there we go. Nevermind the Furthermore, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain. There's not going to be one this Monday because Christmas. But you should watch that, as well as you should watch the Historical Pencil Guild at 6 o'clock Mountain Time on Friday. I like to plug my friend's stuff. Just like I like to plug my page over at the Independent Creator Directory, which I'm going to bring up in the chat right now. There's my page. Links to all of the Teahouse streams, as well as my DeviantArt page where I take pictures of lovely sunrises and sunsets. Oh, nice. My host one on Monday for him. That's, if you do, we might see if we can catch it. Foxy started catching the morning show when she's aware enough in the morning. Yeah, just because I said she usually wakes up with me doesn't mean that she's cognizant of her surroundings. Yeah. Most of these celestial seasonings that I've gotten and tried over the last, what's it been, 2 months, I think? Most of them have been pretty good. I'm very much for more of the fruity teas, and Foxy does more of the herbal teas. Being awake and being awake are two totally different things. To most people, usually when I'm awake, I'm awake. Now I usually get up and why not? It's my stream and I can do it if I want to. This is Acacia, my guitar. I've had her for over a year now. I got her for my birthday in 2022. And that Christmas, Foxy got me these strings. They're pink, but if you get them in a black light, they're nice and red. So black and red, kind of my thing. Usually when I'm watching, get up there, Nick's show, I will practice with my guitar because I can sit at my desk and practice. I don't have a strap. I also don't have an amp. So I'll sit and practice while I'm watching. If I do host Nevermind the Furthermore, it will be on Nick's channel like usual. Okay, good. Yeah, I love that thing. I used to play a long time ago when I was 15, 16 years old. I blame that on my brother, my older brother. Also be it behind the code Monday night as I set up another new profile. Nice. We're getting more people. I love it. But my brother has played guitar for years. Did I make noise? Oh, I'm sorry. I woke up to Pupper. He was getting rid of a guitar because he got a new one and there was nothing wrong with it. So I just kind of grabbed it out of the garbage. And I'm entirely self-taught. I can't read sheet music, but I can read guitar tabs. Close to 30 members. Wow. Wow. I love it. That's great. People. Go there. Find musicians, artists, writers, streamers. It is a wonderful, wonderful resource. But yeah, I entirely self-taught. So I was kind of sort of writing all my own guitar riffs at 14, 15 years old. And then someone who shall remain nameless completely crushed me by coming in and telling me that I should just stop playing because I wasn't any good and I will never be as good as my older brother. And so I literally threw that guitar back in the garbage. And I just recently, after 26 years, picked it back up again. So I'm trying to reteach myself when it's much slower going because I'm 42 instead of 16. My hands are not as fast as they used to be. But I love my guitar. I saved up for years for that thing. My local guitar shop, I walked in there one day. The guy who owns the place personally sat down with me and talked me through every single aspect of buying whatever guitar I needed in my price point. What the hell? I'll give him a shout out. Lee's Music on Main Street in Price, Utah. If you need instruments, and I don't mean just guitars, pianos, ukuleles, you can find just about anything in there. I love that place. I have since gone in there like 4 times just to hang out with the guy. Never able to really pick up a guitar, but however, played trombone from 5th grade through. Wow. All right. Nice. Can't play. I don't believe that, Foxy. I really don't. I think you're far too hard on yourself. You have the Chinese Dietze in the other room. You have a Bodrin. I think you could play them if you really, really wanted to. You just don't think you can. Well, we've hit an hour. Not really anything else in the comments for other Christmas decorations or treats that people want to hear me talk about using in a Chinese martial arts context. So I think we'll call it for tonight. I will see everyone next year. Have a Merry Christmas, Yule, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus, whatever you celebrate. Have a Happy New Year. Everyone be safe. Thank you. You are more than welcome to come anytime you're available. It was great having you to talk to. Happy holidays, everyone. And 再见.